Happy Sunday, beanies, and welcome to this week's video. We are hanging out in the coolest cafe that's also a rare bookstore, and we're going to be drawing. I'm going to get some caffeine in me, read a bit of my book to get inspired before I start drawing. But my client actually said that I could share some of her artwork online, which is amazing. And we've already chatted in person. Like, I've already had a consult, found out what she likes, what she doesn't like. She sent me her reference pictures and a description of what she's looking to get, where she's placing it, all of that fun stuff. And I find just like the more information, the better. You can never have too much information. I like a lot of direction while also having freedom to express myself in my own drawing style, if that makes sense. I think at this point in time, my best advice is to just start drawing. Just get something on paper. You can always refine it later. So that's what I'm doing now. My first layer, it's always so messy. I'm basically just sectioning out all the different shapes, and then I'm going to clean it up after, which you'll see in my little time lapse. And I'm using Procreate on an Apple iPad with an Apple Pencil, and I find that works great for me. And I'm mainly just referencing a few real life pictures of the heron at this point, and then I have two stylized pictures that she gave me for reference pictures, which they're nice to look at, but I also want to make sure that I'm still drawing it in my style, so I'm not copying someone else's artwork. Also, you get to see a bit of the cute bookstore. I had to make a stop there. But yeah, basically I'm using the existing reference pictures to guide me in a specific direction, but I'm still gonna be changing it up and putting my own spin on it. Okay, so that was the first day, so we'll say goodbye to the bookstore. Bye, Mosaic. And this is the next day at the studio. So she is unsure if she wants a version of the heron with just the heron or a version with kind of like a postcard style background. So I'm gonna do two versions because she likes the idea of bulrushes and also arrowhead balsam root, I think it is. It's a plant that's native to the Okanagan. So I'm kind of just playing around. You'll see I'm erasing things, re-putting in things to try to figure out how exactly I want to draw the background. And now I've got a real life reference of bulrushes to help me out. I find when I'm doing anything like a manga panel tattoo or something like this, where it's a postcard or like a perfect square or rectangle, I find having bits of the design poking out of the border can be really interesting, but that's just my artistic choice. But when my client comes in for her tattoo appointment, she will be checking over the design, and we can always make changes together if she decides she doesn't like anything. I find it's always easier to chat in person, and that's why I show artwork at the appointment so that we can make changes together. And like I said, I use Procreate, so it's very easy to move things, flip things around, redraw little parts, especially if things are on different layers. So I find that's what works for me. I personally always like to keep the notes on my iPad in a visible spot about the design, like all of the things that she wants included and she likes. You'll see in the next little clip that comes up that I'll have it in the top left corner. I just find it so easy for me to reference it. I'm quite forgetful a lot of the time, so I definitely like to make sure that I'm including everything that she wants to be included. There it is. Here's another look at one of my rough layers. Usually I have one really rough layer, a second rough layer, and then I'll finally do my final good copy, which you'll see. I personally use the technical pen on Apple because I find it is just everything I need it to be to get it ready for the final copy for the stencil machine. But yeah, I'm just tracing over the rough copy of the heron, so that is the first option for her, which is just the heron. And then I'll also duplicate that just so that for version 2 and 3 with the bulrushes and the balsam root, I'm not tracing over the same heron again. Yeah, so I also recommend, if you're doing any straight lines, using the drawing guide feature on Procreate. It brings up a grid so you know that all of your lines are perfectly straight, and perpendicular and nothing is wonky. Here I am drawing away. Here I am drawing away again. And I'm doing the third version, so I just copied the bulrush design because I want the border to be the same, and I'm just drawing in some of the flower, and I just have a few pictures that I can look off of so I know it's all anatomically correct and all of that. I think if I remember correctly that she wants this design to be about 3 to 4 inches big, so I'm trying to make it detailed enough that you get the texture of the feathers and the flower and stuff, but not too detailed where it just turns into a blob. If you didn't know, ink over time in your body as the UV rays break it down, as well as the natural process as you age and the ink settles in there and the ink fades. I don't want anything to turn into a blob, so you have to make sure you have enough negative space so that your tattoo has areas to breathe, so it's not just turning into a blob. But the more tattoos you do, the more you will realize what is doable and what isn't. So I always print off different sizes and give my client my opinion on how small I could go. And because this is a more rectangular and long design, I think it would look really good on an arm or a leg because it's naturally longer. I believe we are going to be putting it on an arm, which will work great, but another thing you have to keep in mind is as the body naturally moves, anything perfectly straight or circular can get really warped. So I try my best to stencil it in a way where it looks as straight as possible, like those straight lines, but we're all human, so tattoos are never going to be 100% perfect, but I try my best. And I also find having those areas in the design that are poking out, like the bulrushes or parts of the heron, just to break up the design, is going to help a lot. Here's another quick close-up so you can kind of see the rough draft layer compared to the final draft layer and how I chose to render it. Okay, so this is the final day, just putting all of the finishing touches on everything. I'm also going to be adding my watermark. I had some extra time to email her the design beforehand, but I always recommend do not send out anything without a watermark. My clients are amazing. I've never had this issue, but I have heard from other artists that if you send out a design early, some people will steal your design and try to take it to another artist to have them do it cheaper. Again, thank you to my clients for being so lovely, but that has happened. It's happened to someone I know, unfortunately. So putting a watermark on it will signal to any other artist like, hey, this is someone's existing design. So yeah, I always put a watermark on there before I send it out to anyone. And I've got her 3 different versions so she can pick what she likes the most. Personally, I'm really hoping she picks the version with the bulrushes or the flower because I think those are my favorite. I love the little postcard-esque details. You can also see the original reference picture in the corner, so how the vibes are similar, but the style, like my shading personally, is a lot softer, and I drew the heron in my style and changed things around so it's still unique but close to the original. I also personally only send out line work, and I find that chatting about colors and also how we're going to do any shading in person is the most beneficial so that I can give them picture examples of my work, which I will include for you to look at. I do a form of shading called pepper shading. I find it adds some really nice texture because it is kind of like little dots. But yeah, I'll usually show clients my existing pieces so they can get a feel for how the shading, line work, and color will show up, and just show them existing similar pieces I've done. But yeah, we're all done. We did it. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know it was kind of a quick video, but I hope you enjoyed anyway. And thank you to my client for letting me share your really cute heron design. And I'm sure in my tattoo artist diaries, you will see me tattooing it if she's okay with me sharing that too. But I hope this helped, and thank you so much for watching as always. Bye, beanies. I'll see you in the next one. Also, I'm so sorry if that voiceover was really bad. I tried to record it like 8 different times and I was having trouble enunciating, and tonight was my only night to record it. I hope it was okay. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm not a perfectionist. You're a perfectionist. It's it's fine. Everything is fine. It is what it is. We're chilling. Bye.
Tell me I'm confusing.